Try daily fantasy footy today. Pick your starting 9 with a $60,000 salary cap and enter one of our free competitions with a $50 prize pool. Moneyball.com.au. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. I'm here with Sammy Perrett, veteran of the game. How you going, bro?
Good, brother. Yeah, thanks for having us.
And how you been? You know, the doggies, you're playing pretty good footy. You're up and down. You know, it seems like a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You for example, against the Raiders last week, for the first probably 60, you had it, and then it fell apart. How's it been this season? Been a roller coaster for you?
Yeah, I guess every season you're playing has a little bit of up and down, but I think for us particularly, the last probably 2 years, this year and last year, there's been a little bit up and down, and that's something that we as a team, we want to try and stamp out, and we really want to get back to that. 14 was a good year for us. We were really consistent there, and also 12, the 2 years we made the grand finals, they were really consistent for us. So we've been trying to get that back and trying to develop that culture a bit more, and we're getting there. But it was a bummer. It just seemed like Canberra was so hungry at that last 20 minutes, and I think we were stuffed, to be honest. Real tired, and that all comes down to a lot of our decisions and mistakes that we had. But mate, I'm loving it. I'm still enjoying my footy.
This is going to ask you, you're 31 now.
Yep.
Played 220 games, 222.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So how are you feeling physically and mentally?
Well, mentally, I still love it. Like, my favourite time of the week is getting out there on the field, on game time. The training can get a bit tough sometimes. The body's definitely slowing down in terms of the recovery.
Yeah.
I've still got a few tricks up the sleeve for the young boys though.
Yep, 100%. And how have you kind of navigated because you would have seen, it's been the last maybe 6 years where science has really kind of pushed into the game compared to when you started. It would have been 2003, 2002 when you became a part of the squads. What's the change been like for you?
It was massive. Like 2004, I remember after our games, we're still bringing in beer, boxes of beer. Everyone was just sitting around, nothing but the footy shorts on and a bottle of beer in the hand. And it was probably the year after that started getting phased out, and it was Gatorades and water started coming in. But then there was the option of having the beer, and then the beer was just phased right out. Eventually ice bars were introduced. At the Bulldogs at the moment, I've got to say this has been the most cutting edge technology that I've ever seen, and I've experienced since I've been playing. And this is my 13th year playing.
13 years.
Yeah, 13 years playing at full time and first grade, and they've got some pretty impressive stuff there at the Bulldogs. We got heart rate monitors, GPS, that's kind of standard across the league. But we're doing it every single day, every session. They monitor our kilometres, our heart rate levels. Okay. Certain players, the older boys are monitored and they were capped at kilometres per day and per week. We've got all these compression gear that we use for recovery afterwards. We've got our own in-house ice bath and spa. Yep. Massage is there once a week. We've got our in-house physios. Every club has that. But mate, technology is a huge part of our club. And Desi, anyone that knows Desi and follows him, they know that he's big on stats. So he's got numbers on every single body.
Well, I was actually speaking to BMOS and JMOS, and they were both saying, Brett Morris and Josh Morris both saying that Desi loves his technology. Loves it. Yeah,
loves it. He's got cameras all around the field, and so at training he's bought one of the old big screens. I can't remember where he got it from, but so at training the big screen's going. We'll be in the middle of a session. He'll pause it. He'll he'll call out a few players and say, "Hey, check out the board. I just want you to look at this. What you've done here." He'll get the guy up in the video room.
So as you're training?
As we're training, we've got the big screen rolling.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's going live, and he's got how many cameras he's got all around Belmore, and then he'll stop it. He'll say, "All right, boys, check this out.
Yep.
I want you to see here what happened," and then he'll explain how he wants it to be done, and then we watch it, and then off we go. We go train again. Mate. So he just does that throughout the sessions, and then all of those videos also get chopped up and sent to us through an app on our iPad. So everyone has an iPad. Yeah, it's full on.
There is no hiding on the field when it comes to training now.
No, there's no hiding. That's right.
There was a few blokes that just knew how to snake their way around a field and not do much. That's
exactly right.
Not now. That's crazy, man. And so what do you reckon has been the biggest change in the game, you being a part of it for 13 years? What do you reckon has been the biggest change, other than the obvious things like the wrestle and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think I remember talking to Benji one time about it. You know, he was saying that defensively, you know, when he made his debut season and they won, obviously he was sidestepping everyone. You know.
Yeah.
But that's been a huge improvement across the board, is the level of defence. And I think it kind of showed in the Origin game as well last night, where there was just so many, you know, it was so hard to make a line break, you know.
Well, you think about it now, and there's not many like blokes that are stepping 6 blokes and scoring a try.
No.
You know, the only guy that's really doing it is like Semi Radradra.
That's
and he's
right.
120 kilos and friggin' lightning quick.
That's right. And he's, you know, they're busting tackles to do it,
Yep.
you know, and that's probably the only way it's going to happen is
Yep.
you got
Very
that
true.
raw power and strength like someone like Semi, and
Mate, he's ridiculous.
that's right. He just rolls over people.
I remember back in the day, you were either big and slow or little and fast, and that was it.
Yeah, that's it.
He's big in everything.
That's right. Yeah, he's an all round athlete.
Yep.
But that's part of the change too, is the body, you know, the body sizes and
true.
types.
Yep.
I think with more interchanges back when we started, you could afford to have these big boppers, you know,
Yeah.
really big, strong boys. You know, the Mark O'Mealy's and the you know, Andrew Ryans and
Mark O'Mealy, I loved watching him play.
yeah.
He was awesome.
No, he was a tank.
He was aggressive and just loved it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Remember-
But yeah, there was a lot of big players, and these days they seem to be getting a bit
Yep.
smaller and you know, more efficient and mobile. That seems to be a big change.
And what has been the biggest, I guess, change in your own game? Obviously, when you come into the grade, you were you know, quick, strong, and fast. You obviously still are, but there's things that change as you kind of mature as a player. You know, you might, I don't know, instead of being that extra step quicker, you might be that extra step more experienced, or knowing when to come in, when to stay out, kind of thing. What's been the biggest change for yourself personally over your career?
Oh, there's been lots, but I think the most general way I can say is when I was at the Roosters. You know, the majority of my time at the Roosters, we had a very general sort of game plan.
Yep.
And then your instinct and your your natural ability would kind of take over and fill in the gaps.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas here at the Bulldogs now, we're very structured, you know, and you know, I guess anyone that watches like a game like the NFL, they have to run very particular routes
Yep.
for an exact pass, and it feels like it's going that way a bit more, you know.
That's a very good point. I mean, you look at the Origin game, for example. Both teams are running the same plays. It's just whoever can kind of execute that line,
That's right.
that centimetre better, you know. And you know, you look at Darius Boyd, for example. I really think that he was the difference last night, and he just seemed to be able to execute those lines that little bit better. 2 points of difference. That's very true. It's weird to think that in 20 years' time, like, will the game be similar to NFL when it comes to that kind of stuff? Will we running routes and all that kind of shit?
That's right. Well, like with Desi's particular style, I think, and if everyone started going that way, I think it definitely would. And it's so much so at the moment that at our club, you know, we had young Remus Smith debut, and he had a fantastic game. And
On the wing there?
On the wing, that's
left
right.
Wing, yep.
That's right, left wing.
Scored 2 tries.
Exactly. And the way the things are set up at the Bulldogs is these young boys can come in and they're running the same plays.
Yeah.
They know the same lines, they know the same timing, and that's what I'm saying about the structure, and that's Desi's style and our coaching staff style. So there's definitely benefits in doing it that way.
And take us all the way back to when Sammy Perrett was just a young lad. So born in Auckland,
Yep.
1985.
Yes.
And what was it like, a young lad growing up in Auckland? You know, did you grow up in South Auckland? You know, for people watching not from Auckland,
Well,
South Auckland is a very tough area.
Yeah, that's
tough.
right.
Extremely tough. No, there's nowhere in Australia that's anywhere a lot near as tough as South Auckland when I was living there.
That's right. No, it's a tough place. There's no doubt about it. I only have vague memories because I was only there till I was very young.
Okay.
And that's the very reason why my mum and dad decided to move us out, was because
really?
the neighbourhood started changing very quickly, and it became very rough because we're in Mangere.
Oh, okay.
Anyone knows Mangere. There's some rough areas in there, and it went from this nice community, pretty safe and family oriented, to a lot of crime, and that started creeping in, and I think that's what kind of made mum and dad make the decision to move us. We went to Hamilton, and I did all my growing up in Hamilton at primary school.
Yep.
and and then went to
an hour south.
Hour south of Auckland.
Yep.
That's it. So it's probably the nearest major city to Auckland.
It's beautiful, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice spot. Yeah, still got friends and family that are there, and did my first year of high school, and then we flew over to the Gold Coast. And Mum and Dad are there to this day.
What a difference!
Oh, I know.
Oh, man.
I tell you, everything was just eye opening to me. I
Really?
came over, I was like, "What is this heat?" First of all, that was the first thing. I couldn't believe that, and then just the whole the language and the lingo, the way everyone sounded, the accent.
So it was the first year of high school, you said?
Yes,
so you were like 15, 16?
I was 13, 14.
13, 14,
13,
okay,
14, so I was still pretty young.
13, 14, and I guess you wouldn't have been kind of introduced to the fact that even though we're so close, we're still the culture is very different. Very different in small ways that it's cool. And the Gold Coast, of all places, to go like as in cold, overcast, rainy Gold Coast, warm all the time, because I'm from the Goldie.
Yeah.
Mate, I didn't know how good it was until I left it.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, it is beautiful. Like,
it is.
There's like, other than you could say that maybe it's a bit too built up now. What's wrong with it's one of the best places in the world, the Gold Coast, when it comes to weather and beach, and you got your city, and it's easy enough to live there when it comes to financial, the minimum wage and everything like that. So
I agree.
It's a beautiful place. So you've been moved to Goldie. Did you go to Kiwis State High?
No, I was Palm Beach.
Oh, PVC.
Yep. I was Palm Beach for my last 2 years. Yeah, so I went to Helensville High School and Benoa. So I was only there for.
I was at St Kevin's for my primary school.
Oh, right.
Yep. So you went to Benoa State High?
That's right.
Just across the road from my primary school.
Right there. Yeah. That's right.
All our little Catholic school kids used to get bashed by all like the Benoa because they were just way rougher, and just like it was just we were just these little. It was so hard to explain. But as young, like we'd have prayer every morning, and we'd be this kind of not sheltered, but do you know what I mean? It's just from two different worlds,
That's
different
right.
demographics. But yeah, so Benoa State High.
That's right. Yeah.
What was that like there?
It was good. Yeah, it was good, and they were. They loved their sport, and they were pretty big on touch. I think they were like the. They used to win all the touch competitions.
Yep.
I remember leaving my first year. I left Benoa to Palm Beach, and our footy side, we jumped in the touch tournament, and we got to the final, and we played against Benoa, and
really?
they pipped us. Yeah, it got to a drop off, so it was pretty fun. It was exciting. Got to have a laugh with all my old mates at Benoa and that, and but they were very good at that, and I enjoyed that. They had a lovely culture there. They had a wonderful principal, and he really looked after us, and he developed a really family sort of culture.
Oh, okay.
Which it's not common in high schools,
Oh, no way. No.
But I'll always remember that, and went off to Palm Beach, and that was. Was
it because of your footy? Because you were obviously so when you were say 13, 14, were you playing such good footy that it was like, okay, this is because obviously Palm Beach Currumbin is a footy school.
That's right.
So was it because of that or?
Not at all. No, it was 13, 14. I was skateboarding, and
really?
Yeah, 13, 14, 15 skateboarding still. Yep. So it wasn't until 16, 17 I saw my mates, and they were doing well with. They had contracts and scholarships at the Broncos, at the Bulldogs, and I played socially, and then I thought, I think I could have a crack at that. If some of my mates are doing well at it, I think I'll have a go. And young Jordan Rapana.
Oh yeah,
he was only an ankle biter when we're talking about this, but his older brothers, they're like my best mates. And,
okay.
And
how good is that guy going?
Yeah, mate, he's on fire. He's a really, and he was always like that, an amazing talent. Yep. And mate, when it came to training, he was pretty blasé. He was just really cruising and relaxed. But then you give him the footy out on the field, and
ridiculous.
He does some amazing stuff.
Mate, he is unstoppable, literally unstoppable. Most tackle breaks in the comp right now.
Is that right?
Yeah, most tackle it's like 64 or something.
And then teaming up with young BJ.
Yeah, BJ, he's second. I'm pretty sure he's second or close abouts.
Yeah, mate, they're a tough combination to come up against.
Very good. But yeah, back to yourself. So you. You were 16, 17 and you still weren't even, footy wasn't even a serious thing in your life then?
No, that's right. Yeah, and I saw them getting these contracts and I thought, I could have a crack at that, and I thought, all my mates were there at Palm Beach, Benny Hannants, the Joel and Rapana.
Yep.
Who else did we have?
Was Darius? Oh, he would have been
Darius was younger, but he was there.
Steve Michaels.
Yep, Stevie Michaels, he was in our year. We had guys like Dimitri Pello.
Michael Bond.
Yes, Bondy, yeah. He was
one of the best players to never play in a role.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Bonnie, that's right. So all of those boys, that was our generation, and I loved my experience there, and it definitely prepared me for what was here in full-time NRL, sort of, that environment and the mindset that you need to make it there.
And so where did, obviously the idea had to come into your head somehow as in, like, you could make it. Was it because you're an athletic guy, or was it because, you had mucked around with your mates and been like, I've kind of been able to match it with them here, and if they're doing well, maybe I'll be able to, what was the deciding factor of, like, I could make something of this?
I think it was a bit of that. Like, we played social rugby against each other, rugby union, and I thought, the boys are doing well and they're getting these gigs. I think I could do that as well.
Yep.
So that's where it all started. Just the idea that I could make something out of this, and I think I'm good enough to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then had a crack at it. First year I played at Palm Beach. I was playing there, and I was playing at Burleigh Bears under 18s, and I was just trying to get as much experience as I could, because I hadn't played since I was a 8-9-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Rugby league, that is. And then I played one or two seasons of rugby union when I was 12, 13. Moved over, didn't do anything but skateboard. Played one season of rugby union, and then got into the league after that. And another reason for going to league was that was where the game was, and the skill was, and the level was.
Yep.
In the Gold Coast, because they love their, Queensland loves their, they love their rugby league.
Footy up there it's not even close. Like, there's not even anything. You look at Sydney and you've got the Sydney Swans here. AFL is still a thing. Soccer is kind of big now. Whereas in Queensland, it's just footy.
It's footy. That's it.
That's it. Far out. So you were essentially 16, 17, and no real experience in playing high level footy.
That's right.
And you debuted at how old? 19, 20?
Yes, 19. I think I was 18, 19.
So
I went
2 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god!
I went from not making the local rep side. First year at Palm Beach, I couldn't make the A side either. I think I might have had one run here and there.
Yep.
And then the second year, I played regularly for our A side at Palm Beach.
Yep.
Under the awesome guidance of Rock and Rodney Patterson.
Yep.
Who's he's hanging up the boots this year. So just a shout out to Pato. He's a champion. And then the next year I was able to make Australian schoolboys.
Wow.
And it obviously helped that Pato was he was the Australian schoolboys coach as well, so
right.
so that helped. There was no rort there.
Yeah, none at all. There's no what's the word? Conflict of interest. Not
that's right.
So you go. You're 16. You don't make it. You don't even make the local side. You go 17. By the end of your 17, being 17 years old, you're making the Australian side.
Yep.
What was it? It
was a lot of things. It was again just that belief that I could get there. A few things fell in place, like Pato being chosen as the Australian coach, but just to get into the South Coast team, then to lead into the Queensland team, there was a lot of work that had to be done, and thank goodness I was playing alongside guys like Benji. We had Randy Chase, he was our other half. We had the Eastwood boys, Greg and Shane.
They were guns.
Exactly, they were machines. Dan Bacco, young Dan Bacco. Marty Mitchell. We had a really good side, and Sammy Moa.
Wow.
Yep, Sammy Moa was in there.
Like 6 or 7 NRL players just there.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Played in our that went and played our Queensland side, and then we dominated the schoolboy carnival as well.
Yep.
So that was a pretty amazing time, and had some awesome teammates to do it alongside, and I don't know, mate, it just all fell into place, and I was always working as hard as I could the whole time. I look back now and I truly think that was the hardest football of my life, just because of the quantity of training. So you had your club side, you had your club rep, you had your school side, and your school rep.
So four different sides you're training for.
Exactly, yeah, and that's why I think it was the toughest time. And
wow, 4 different sides. So you go away for the Australians, for the Queensland Australian, I guess, tournament. You get selected in the Australian side. Does a manager approach you and say you've got some talent here, or does the Bulldogs, does the Roosters approach you and say we want you? What was the conversation like that got you into grade? Yeah,
so it was that last year, and it was probably like halfway through the school competition, where scouts were coming to the games. Yeah, and then I had I had just different scouts coming up to me from the different clubs, and they were talking, and they're saying, who's your manager? And then we had to get a manager. So found one. He's a really awesome guy and still a really good mate to this day. And he looked after it all for us, and we ended up going with the Roosters.
Good club to go to. Good club, especially that would have been 2002. They just won the premiership.
That's right. They were the
hit team.
That's right.
Far out. So you're doing all right to get, a year ago. You're not making a local side. Literally 12 months later, you're getting selected for the number one side in the country, or in the world of rugby league. Was that a head spin for you, or like?
Oh, it was, yeah. And I was so blasé because I've never been. Growing up, I've always watched big games. The old man will be watching, like a all black versus, Bledisloe Test or something like that. And grand finals, rugby league grand final. I'll watch the big games when the old man's watching it. But when I rocked up there, I was so ignorant to who players were and what was going on. I just love playing the game. Yeah. And to be honest, I'm still like that these days, I only know the boys who I play against, and I'm pretty blasé about everything else. But, I rocked up, and I remember meeting guys like Jason Kalis and Peter Cusack, and I was like, "Oh, mate, hey, Sam's my name," and
having no idea who they were.
But I didn't know their names. Yeah, I might have seen them once or twice, and they're kind of like, they're humble enough though, I remember big Jason Kalis was like, "Hey, mate, Jason, nice to meet you."
Oh, really?
I really had no idea. So I laugh when I think back on it, but that's what it was like for me. I was in just a new world. I've been at home all my life. All of a sudden, I'm by myself in Sydney. Thank goodness I was with Benny Hannant, who's a good mate of mine through church.
Good man.
He is a good guy. He's got a big heart, Benny.
He's a fantastic player, but just a really good guy. Was with him at the Broncos. What's funny is right. You not knowing the players you play with. I think it was like the first year and a half of me playing footy, I didn't even know like what numbers were what. So like 13, I didn't know that was like lock, or I didn't know second row. I didn't know what the forwards numbers were because I came from soccer when I was 17 to 18. So I was playing soccer all the way up to 17 with the Queensland Raw, and then I was mucking around with mates at the Confraternity Shield. You would know the Confraternity?
Is that it's not the school one?
It's like Catholic schools.
Yes, okay.
Catholic schools play each other. Anyway, I was mucking around with mates, got picked up with the Broncos. So I reckon I played a year of footy with I didn't even know what the numbers represented for the positions. So that's much I did not know. I remember my first tackling session, I couldn't believe how sure my shoulders were. It was crazy. So I can relate to you when it comes to just playing for the enjoyment of it, kind of thing. So you get called into the side. You get pushed into this professional life. What was, I guess, the family life for you growing up? Because it kind of sounds like your family was just like, just do whatever you want to do and have fun and be happy kind of thing. What was it like growing up for you in your family, moving to the Gold Coast? Yeah,
so I think the big reason for the family coming over was the old man was a copper back in New Zealand, and he was looking for a new opportunity and something different for us. So that's why we moved over. But my parents have always been... They've been very clear in some ways, and then for other things, they've just been like, you know what, go and do your thing. They're pretty relaxed about it, and I really appreciated that because, they didn't pressure or force me in any directions, and neither have they for the rest of my brothers and sisters. And they've kind of let us, learn and express ourselves, I suppose. And so it was really nice that they did that, and I guess it just happened that way, meeting my friends, what they're getting into, football, and I love playing it anyways. And then, and I remember the old man too when we first started having these meetings with these clubs. Mate, he's not once has he had a car accident in his life, right? And there was this one time he just finished meeting with the Bulldogs. It was Mark Hughes was working there at the time, and had a meeting with him, and he was so excited. He's run outside. This is him by himself. He's run outside, jumped in the car all excited, and then he's reversed straight into a pole, smashed the back of the car. And it's just a laugh, that he was so pumped and excited that something he's normally very careful with in driving. He's run straight into a pole and then...
And the doggies are like, they've just met, this young kid, his father, he's got everything together. They look out the window, his dad just falls.
That's right, yeah. Reversed straight into a pole and then just driven off. I think he was embarrassed, so he drove off as fast as he could.
Hey, you pay for our pole, man. You stuck that light over. Oh, man, that's funny. Just no crashes and then just boom. Yes, okay. So you obviously agreed to go to the Roosters. They were the number one team in the comp, and did you make your debut the year after agreeing? Like, how long did you play reserve grade for?
So we finished school in 2003, and then I went there for the 2003 start of the 2004 preseason, basically, and then I made my debut my first year there. So I only played the one game, and then I did my
ankle.
Unfortunately, 10-week injury. So then when I came back, all three grades were right at the top of the table.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't get into grade. I couldn't get into Reggie's. And then so I ended up playing 19s, which I was eligible to play.
Yep.
But I played half the season in Reggie's to start with.
Yep.
And that was a massive rap and opportunity for me, I was... Back then, you had majority first graders all playing in reserve grade.
Reserve grade was it still is a big thing, but it was a much bigger thing back then.
That's right, and it went in order. You go 19s played first, Reggie's played second, first grade.
Those are the good old days, and I hope they go back to it.
I agree. I loved it. It was such an honour to be able to play for reserve grade, and if it wasn't a first grader in there, it was a very seasoned and veteran type reserve grade player,
Definitely.
And they had the respect. We gave them the respect that we'd give the first graders, the same sort of thing, because they were, they'd been there, they'd done that. They
were so good that if the club was struck with a lot of injuries, they would usually get asked to come and train with the first grade side. That's what it used to be like. Because when I came in 2006, it was still the same. With the Clydesdales Broncos reserve grade, and you had your older guys that. They were there or thereabouts, but they might have chosen to get a full-time job and chosen maybe a different path, but they were still so good enough, to be able to mix it with us. So,
that's
100%. Right. I really do hope don't get me wrong, 20 times it's great, all that kind of stuff, but it is not the best for the young guys coming through when it comes to playing with men and really kind of... And I think if you had a national reserve grade comp, the standard of footy would lift in first grade.
Yes.
Because you're going to have guys that instead of going... Like, for example, Matt Gillette last night wins man of the match. 6 years ago, he was in reserve grade at 20 years old.
Yep.
Without a first grade squad. Like, without an NRL club. He literally was not signed. And he could have just... You know what I mean? Like, that's how crazy... Imagine how many... Jack Reed, same situation. In reserve grade.
I didn't know that. 20
years old. Had no... Like, Ivan Henjak, the Broncos coach, they played a year of reserve grade without an NRL club and killed it. And that's how they got to start in first grade, whereas now it just doesn't happen. Guys go into the 20s and...
That's right. And there's also a humbling process and an earning process going 100%. Through that as well. And it kind of makes me think of guys back in our era that were... we didn't have the 20s comp, but they were still making that jump straight into first grade because they were good enough. That was pretty impressive.
Oh, definitely.
Guys like Carmichael, who you played alongside, he was one of those sort of players. Where
17 years old or something like that.
That's right. Straight into the first grade squad and kills it.
Like, he was so good. Israel Folau, I think, what was he when he came into the Melbourne Storm on 17 or something?
That's right.
Greg Inglis.
That's right.
Greg Inglis, he's so good. It's kind of unfair, Like,
yeah,
it's kind of unfair. Like, he just gifted with this ridiculous talent to do whatever he wants on a footy field.
Yeah, those boys are definitely exceptions.
Oh, 100%. So you what was that like, making your debut and then essentially dropping 2 places down into the 19 squad and then having to earn your way back in? Do you think that was actually the best thing for your footy? Or?
Oh, I think so. And like I said before, there's a humbling process, and that definitely humbled me because, anyone that makes their debut and they eventually get dropped, there's always this thought process you go through, like, oh man, how do I get back in there?
Oh, 100%.
You know what I'm talking about. And any first grader, almost all of us have been dropped at some stage.
Yep.
And, there's this big process, I've got to get back in there. So there was that whole battle, and then, I was able to get through that, and, I learned a lot from it. And it was actually a really big blessing and one of my career highlights, being dropped into that 19 squad, because it was with Captain Jamie Soward. He captained us.
Oh, Sowie.
And we,
Roosters, yeah.
that's right.
Yep.
And we went through and we're in that undefeated side. So I was
okay.
able to be a part of that.
So it was actually, yeah, as you said, blessing. You wouldn't have been able to be a part of that kind of side. Wow, because that side was making, in a day and age when reserve grade sides didn't make news because we didn't have as much social media, to make the news was actually, a big deal. And you guys were like making the news and stuff because you were so good.
That's right.
That's crazy.
And that was under Coach Flanagan, Shane Flanagan.
Oh, yep.
Who's now got the Sharky boys, and he's obviously got a very special ability with getting his players to perform, and I think he's got an exceptional win rate, I think, over his career. So
he's so good to do what he has done with that Cronulla side. That's impressive. Like he doesn't get as much credit as I think he deserves. To take a side that was decimated with controversy only 3 years ago, and then 3 years later, they're probably the best side in the comp at the moment, you could argue. I mean,
they are, yeah, they're number one.
Yeah, number one. Yeah, probably they are, yeah, 100%. So, so you play the Roosters, and then I think you played, was it 17 games next year?
No, the next year was only a handful, so I think it might have been 3 or 4.
Yep.
And then it was the 70, so it was the majority of the season the year after, my third year.
Yep.
And then from that season on, I basically played full-time first grade. And you can see that process, I built into it. I had to learn, and there was one standout lesson that I learnt through that whole process, which was I got to a point where I was really struggling. I had a lot of doubts, a lot of pressure. I wasn't enjoying my footy anymore. Yep. I didn't feel like the coaching staff, appreciated or wanted me there anymore, and so all these thoughts were going through my mind, and my performance wasn't living up to it, and I started doing a bit of soul searching and trying to find out, why am I playing this? Why do I enjoy it? And then, I was able to answer the questions, thank goodness. And I had a really good chat with Craig Wing before a game that I got called up for against the Sharks.
Yep.
And chatting with him, Wingy said to me, mate, you know what, Sammy, you got selected in the side, and they brought you here to the club because you're good at what you do. And he said, just go out there and do that.
Yep. Don't
worry too much about what everyone else is expecting or saying. Just go and do what you enjoy and what you're good at. And when he told me that, that really stuck with me. And to this day, I'll never let anyone take away what I enjoy about footy, why I go out there and play. And that's been I'll take that lesson with me through the rest of my life, not just with footy, but with anything. If you're not enjoying something, find a way to enjoy it, find what you love about it. Otherwise, go to something different, move on.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And so it sounds simple, but the fact that never to take away what you enjoy, that can happen quite a bit. All these outside pressures can push things out of your life that you don't really realise at the time they're getting pushed out of your life. Before you know it, you might be a guy that enjoys to play a bit ad lib or something like that.
That's right.
And before you know it, a structure's come in and it's squeezed you out of it, instead of being like, okay, maybe I should stick to what I love, and things will take care of themselves. If this club might not be interested, maybe this club, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're 100% right. I had a similar situation in my career. I feel like structure kind of pressured out the bit that I enjoyed of the game. But I wasn't lucky enough to have the speech with Craig Wing. He's doing all right now, isn't he? He was coaching the Japanese rugby union side.
That's right. Yeah.
Part of that.
Yeah. Well, he's still been playing right up. I'm not sure if
really?
He's finished. Yeah, he's still been playing. So, mate, he's looking younger than me. So.
Mate, what those genetics?
Oh no,
ridiculous.
Mate.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and he was always an athlete. And
yep.
Mate, he was shredded. He was
the first good-looking man of league.
Yeah, that's right.
The first heartthrob. He was before that, it was just all hardened, thugs that played rugby league.
That's
and then Craig
right.
Wing come along and be like, what, a good-looking dude actually can play rugby
That's
league.
right.
And then we got blokes like Sonny Bill, Matt Cooper.
Yeah, he started a bit of a trend there.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Especially like such a veteran. He was such a good player, man.
Yeah, he was. And that team that I debuted with was, it blows my mind looking back at it. We had Brad Fittler, Luke Ricketson, Craig Fitzgibbon, Jason Kalis, Adrian Morley, Anthony Minicello, had Chris Walker, Justin Hodges. It was an unbelievable
team. It's like an Australian side, pretty much.
It was, yeah. It was very special to be able to play alongside, and something that I'll always cherish, especially our captain at the time, Big Freddie. That was the only game I got to play alongside him,
Oh, really?
other than trial games. So
I love Freddie Fiddler. I've had him on the show, actually.
beautiful.
Mate, he's a legend. I just love, he's just like so different and funny and just charismatic.
Yeah, that's him.
Mate, his Channel 9 stuff I love it. Like, I think it's funny, like the way he just doesn't do what is the specific, like the normal thing to do. He always has his own kind of angle. Like the other week, the Sharks versus the Broncos. He said, the Broncos have only won night games. It's like they're a team of vampires.
Yeah.
Vampires, what?
Yeah, he's got a bit of quirkiness about him, old Freddie.
I love it.
I think, I'm not sure if you can remember, but his first year as coach for us at the Roosters,
Yep.
we had a blinder of a because we didn't go so well. And then Chris Anderson hung up the boots, and then Freddie stepped in, and then but yeah, mate, he was I think he was named the cruisiest, most relaxed coach in the NRL, because we're out there running on the field playing the games, and he's got a sandwich in his hand. He was cool. Yeah, he was very cool, and we had some good success.
So 2000 and when was it? You got selected for the Kiwis squad first, and then you didn't play that year, but you played the next year,
mm-hmm.
and you were part of the 2008 side that won the World Cup.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I was on the wing. I was on the wing. Yeah.
Well, okay. First of all, actually, no. Read here earlier. So you originally played under 19s for Australia, and then you pledged your allegiance to Australia. I actually had Jared Beale on last week.
Yep.
And I don't know if you had a similar feeling, but he said that when he played for Australia, although it was an honour, when he put that green and gold jersey on, it just didn't feel right. When he looked across from him, seeing the Kiwis in the black jersey, and he felt like he had to have the black jersey on, the huck and all that. What was it like for you personally? You would have played against the Kiwis.
That's right. Like? Yeah, no, I was really proud to play for Australia at schoolboy level, and at the time I didn't hear a word from New Zealand Rugby League and the junior Kiwis. So it was a real honour. I love playing for Australia and for Queensland. But then, so my reserves at the time was I was just a little bit doubtful of New Zealand Rugby League and where they were going and how they were handling
very
things.
Very different back then too. People.
That's right.
Very different.
That's right. I think the only coaches back then were from like local. The rule was only local coaches could take the
and it was
the
still
position.
An era where rugby union was all there was in New Zealand. Like really, like when it comes to mainstream sports.
Definitely.
Nowadays, rugby league is a mainstream sport, but it wasn't always like that over in New Zealand.
That's right. And I think it was Brian McLennan who came in, and Bluey, as everyone knows him, he came in and he really transformed the culture there.
Yep.
And that was when Ruben Wiki and I think Manu Vatuvai just first came in, because we're all at the same age.
Oh, okay, yep.
So our Australian schoolboy side play against Manu and
Shunner.
Yeah, big Shunner. Yeah, I know he had the gold teeth back then too. So, yeah, we all grew up in the same age, and yeah, big Manu and all the Kiwi squad at the time, because of that culture that they instilled, they had some really good success.
Yep.
And I kind of always had my doubts and reserves from the Kiwis and how they ran things, and then when I started seeing that, he rang me up a few times and he said, "Sammy, would love to. I've been watching you play, man. Would love to have you as part of the developing squad." And I really appreciated that phone call. And then I said to him, "Look, mate," I was just honest with him. I said, "Look, Bluey, I'm not sure where New Zealand Rugby League's at. It looks a bit all over the place."
Yeah.
And he said, "No worries, mate. I'll tell you what. I'll leave that with you. We're very keen, mate, and I'd love to do whatever we can to help." He said, but he put no pressure on me, left it with me, and then he just kept checking in.
Yep.
And that left a big mark on me, and then obviously things changed and improved, and the Kiwis are a pretty formidable force at the moment.
I mean, they had that many injuries last game.
Yep.
And still, nearly they what was it, 12-6 or something, or 12 whatever it was.
That's right.
For that many injuries to still be competitive, if that was 10 years ago, it would be a shellacking.
That's right.
That's cool, man. Especially, as I said, we forget pretty quickly how different it was in New Zealand only 10 years or so ago. Rugby union was all there was. I remember when I went, even in 2009, when I went to the Warriors, people were surprised that our trial match got more fans than the Blues side did. Even
right.
then, and that's 2009. Whereas now it's kind of the Warriors are, even though they're struggling, they're still a pretty big side in New Zealand. So 2008, being on the wing when you won the World Cup against all odds, literally.
Yeah.
It was David versus Goliath kind of thing.
That's
what was
right.
that like for you?
Oh yeah, that was a very special moment, and that's definitely one of my top achievements in my career is winning that World Cup. I've got that treasured jersey at home, and I love that. I love those memories. I love my time with. That was the first year. Steve Kearney came in as coach,
And was Wayne Bennett advising?
And Benny was there. Yeah, Wayne Bennett was there. So I've been forever appreciative of what I learnt there and with those guys and. I think Wayne in particular, he left a big mark. He is a very special man, and he instilled a spirit and a culture on us that it really lasted. And I think 2010, same sort of thing. He was able to he wasn't part of the squad officially, but he just came and had a quick chat, and that was enough to get us pumped up and got us across the line.
So good, eh?
He has that effect on
it's
players.
An aura. It's just this aura. I don't know what it is. You can try and talk to it and explain it to someone, but until you're in his presence and hearing his words, there's nothing you can say. Like there's nothing you can kind of do that will measure how immense his presence is.
That's right. And I think a word that I use is I'd like to use is integrity. I feel like he's got a lot of integrity, which means. My meaning of it is what he says is what he does and what happens. And that's why everyone respects what he says.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's going to happen. He's going to do it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't happen, he'll talk. He'll talk about it. He's not one of those. He's not just going to be like, oh no.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Wayne Bennett, special man. The impact he's had on the game. And I hope that he has the same impact on the England squad as he has on New Zealand, because that's only going to be good for the game when it comes to quality football at a world stage. 2008, you win the World Cup. 2010, you win again. Was it Tri-Nations that time?
It was the Four Nations.
Four Nations. And then 2012, you sign with the Doggies. What was that? You would have. I'm sure you would have loved the Roosters, but what kind of pushed that decision?
Yeah, and it was mid-season too, so it was something that I would never recommend to do. It's as uncomfortable. It was awkward. I was so sad to leave. What I call my family and my home. It wasn't under ideal circumstances. I got to a place again where I wasn't enjoying my football, and I truly believe that the whole squad at that time was really down in the pits, and we weren't enjoying it. And I think. Ultimately, the feeling I got was an opportunity popped up, and I think I needed something new.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, as the old saying goes, you get a breath of fresh air. I think I needed that, and looking back on it now, I think it was perfect because it really revamped my whole love of the game.
Yep.
I learned something totally different, totally new culture, and it was very. It resided well with me and how I was brought up. The culture at the Bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very. Don't get me wrong. I love the Roosters and the culture I had there, but then to come over to the Bulldogs, it was very family oriented. There was kids running all over the place, just like me and my wife. We got 3 little ones, and there was kids all over the place. So there was all these young families, and it was just something that we always grew up with and we were used to, and it was a very humble and hard-working culture, and it still is now. So I've loved being a part of that.
And I guess you've been in 2 grand finals?
Yes, yeah.
So it's obviously a good move footy-wise for you. 2 grand finals, it's massive. But you spoke about the culture. And, with Hopewadi's, recent, it wouldn't have been recent for him, but, his announcement that his faith on a Sunday is very important to him. Obviously, Bulldogs are very respectful of faith.
Yes.
And obviously, you have a strong faith yourself.
Yeah.
What does faith mean to you in a sportsman's kind of way, and also what does faith mean to you in a man's kind of way? Yeah,
well, I think faith for me, it's the same for every area of my life. I basically believe in a God and a higher power. So just that alone keeps me grounded. That. It's not all about Sam,
Yeah.
I'm here to help out and to serve others basically. And you know, obviously I'm going to enjoy it along the way as well. I love my footy, but yeah, I'm just a piece of the puzzle, and I'll just try and help out as much as I can. But Hopper and I both share the same faith, which is the Mormon faith, as everyone knows, and I really respect the decision he made. I thought it was pretty courageous and something that I'd never thought of, because it just never crossed my mind that
it was an option.
Yeah, it was an option. That's right. Yeah, and then when he told me about it and the precepts, and I was blown away. I thought, wow, that's fantastic. And then I looked at him and I said, you know, I'm going to have to ask now, right? And he goes, yeah, go for it. Yeah, good luck. And I went and spoke to Desi, and Desi said, look, we negotiated with Hopper before, but with yourself, you know, had we done that, it might be different. But we're going to need you. And I said, no worries, that's fine. Played my whole career on Sundays anyways, but that wasn't a drama. But yeah, to me, my faith is ultimately God. And my family, you know. But the thing I love about family is it can extend, you know. It extends to everyone I knew and became close with at the Roosters. It's extended to people at the Bulldogs and my teammates and my, you know, good mates that are now opposition, and friends outside of football. You know, I kind of consider everyone as my family, and you know, I've got my company now as well, and everyone that's involved in that has become my family. So
it's kind of the pillar and everything, or I guess the tree and everything roots from that kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah,
kind of glues it all together.
Yeah, it's the foundation of my faith is family.
Yep,
it definitely is.
And so, you know, excuse me for my ignorance, but will you go on your 2-year? Is that a prerequisite? Do you have to do that? No one has to do it. You know, you don't have to do anything in life. You're free to make your own decisions, and I really wanted to, but I was kind of at a crossroads where a new contract was on the table, and I kind of had to wait till the end of the season, which was going to be like another 6 months. Before I could go, so I had these two decisions to make, and I ended up choosing the football, and I don't regret anything. I love that, and I've been married and we've got our 3 kids now since. So, you know, you're a family.
That's
or
right.
Your own personal drive to fulfill that need of wanting to do it. It's maybe more a sacrifice not to, even though that sounds crazy.
Yeah,
but it could be because
Well, what happens is if you have if you're married, you don't serve a proselyting mission. So a proselyting mission is only for single young men. From age, now it's from age 18 up until I think it's like late 20s. They don't advise you to go if you're a little bit older than that, you know. So it's only that's right. Yeah, responsibility. That's right. But when you're just fresh out of high school, you know, your responsibilities are limited, and it's a good time to do it. And
so there's been Langi Setu that's done it.
Yep, Langi. Hopper's done it, obviously.
Hopper's done it, obviously, yeah.
Young Jordan Rapana's done it.
Yeah, so there's been a few boys that have done it. And you know what I love is the fact that, you know, obviously, not be like I'm ignorant of the faith as in I don't know the ins and outs, but I love the fact that they go away and they do it, and it's a beautiful thing to get, because they go away and they live on basically nothing and the help of other people.
That's it.
But they go out and help other people.
Yep.
So I love that, but what I love is that every guy has come back and been able to continue playing footy. So it kind of sends a message that like you can do both if you're you know, fortunate enough to do it at an early enough age, and so that, you know, any young kid out there won't feel like he has to fully give up everything at a young age, when there's been people that have done it and it's been, you know, accepted and appreciated and respected. So I think that's cool that, you know, there's obviously different pathways that people can take to kind of fulfill. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both, which is
everyone's path is as unique as they are. You know, we all have these different situations and challenges and opportunities, and there's a million different variations for each person.
And so, what has been the craziest memory for you? What's been something that's really stood out to you, maybe funny or just, craziest footy memory of the 13-year career?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty, but...
Oh, there's a few. You know, a lot of them are kind of just in-house with the boys. Something funny happens and then everyone just has a good laugh about it. You know, I've got a few of those out on the field. You know, obviously... been in the 3 grand finals, that's definitely been a highlight of mine. Every single one was amazing. The World Cup win was another one. That was a crazy highlight, and I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on one thing. you see some scary stuff too with injuries that happen on the field, and teammates outside of football. Everyone goes through tough times, but
what's been the toughest time for you
personally? For me. So as we were speaking earlier about my conversation that I had with Wingy, Craig Wing, and that was a tough time for me for football, because I got to this point where I wasn't enjoying it anymore, and then so that was probably it. In terms of football, that was it.
And was it really on the table? That was the choice of not playing football. Was that on the table for you?
Well, what was on the table was I only had the rest of that year on contract, so it would have been maybe 3 months left, and that's why I had all the stress building up. And then I made the decision to myself after speaking with Wingy and thinking about it. I was like, you know what? If I finish my career here, I'm going to go out finishing it in my style.
Yep.
So that was the decision I made, and then. You would not believe it, but that very game we played against the Sharks, I scored a double, had a good game, had a blinder of a game, playing against Nigel Wangener, and Leon Bott was there.
Oh, Leon Bott?
Yeah, he'd just gone to the Sharks, so those two were the pairing there, and Ryan Cross and myself were on the left side, and I scored a couple of tries, and then I was just on top of the world. I came in just all happy, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. I'm enjoying football again.
Yep.
And then my manager pulls me up the next day and he says, after the game, and he says, just want to let you know, Sammy, that you had a new contract that was riding on your performances, but I didn't want to tell you. And I was like, what? And he goes, but congratulations, mate, you got another 2 years. So
mate,
that was
pressure.
That's right. And thank goodness he didn't tell me. But yeah, it's kind of you see how things have just fallen into place. I had this talk with Wingy, I made this decision, I've gone out and enjoyed myself, had a blinder, contracts on the table the next week. So it was bizarre, but that was one of my most crazy memories, and something that changed the course of my career.
And we're here 10 years later, or 11 years later.
Right.
Far out. That's great. Like, who would have thought that at that moment, not only would you go on to have a 2-year contract, you'd go on to have a career of 250 300 games maybe, who knows? Yeah. That's crazy. That's it, like in the top 1% of the top 1% of the top 1% of when it comes to footy players.
That's right.
Of games played. And, post-footy, obviously you've got your Perrett, Perrett company.
Yep. Yeah, so it's a Perrett Group, it's called.
Yeah, Perrett Group. Yep.
And we've got the three companies in it. So they all specialise in construction. It's all residential, so construction, development and sales and marketing, all residential properties. So,
and what's that like?
Oh, mate, I love it. I've always had a passion since I was at high school doing work experience. It's always based around construction.
Oh,
so
really?
I always knew I wanted to, other than football, I wanted to get stuck into building and construction.
And what's that journey been like for you? Obviously, opening your own company, and what's it been like? What's the differences, and do you enjoy it? Do you love it? Is it something that when you do retire in the next 1 or 2, 3 years, is it something that is going to make the transition really easy because you're passionate about it?
Absolutely. It's I found through my family, my faith, through doing my construction and setting up this company outside, I feel like it's provided a lot of balance, and instead of just standing on the one leg being football, I've got 3 or 4 legs that it just makes things a lot more certain. And I might have a bad day on the paddock, on the field, running around with the boys, but then you go home and you see your family, and then you go to a site and you see how good it's coming along, and it adds that balance, and so that's something I'd really like to promote to young players coming through, and even the current boys, is getting stuck into something outside of football.
That's what I say to a lot of the boys.
And I'm sure you've experienced that yourself,
Mate, just start something, just small, just tiny. Whether it's a clothing label, you've got like James Seguiaro and Corey Norman starting to clothe, like just tiny. Let it grow naturally, and then before you know it, you'll love it. It'll be your own little baby that you've built. But it's easy to say, it's harder to do.
That's right.
And so how old is the company, and what's the growth been like for you? Has it been good times, or?
Yeah, no, it's been really good. It's been awesome. I think the highlight of the company is the people that I've been able to bring together, and a lot of them I've known for a long time. Some of them I've only known over the last couple of years. So it's been, I guess you could say it's been in the process since the very beginning, like up here. of my career, because when I first went to the Roosters, I was doing 1 day a week, or as often as I could. I was going out on site for free, just working as a...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just for free.
So you love it.
I loved it, yeah.
So, do you want to get your carpenter's ticket, or?
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, so you've got it. Okay.
So I had to, because I didn't do it through an apprenticeship.
Yep.
I was training full time. I would spend. I'd do night courses at TAFE.
Yep.
Did that for 3 years, where I'd do twice a week. We'd go in for 3 hours a night, and then I got my my TAFE ticket that way.
Yep.
And then I just had to clock up the hours out on site, and so that's how I did it. And over about a 5-year period, I was popping out on site for free and just learning and understanding.
That's cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's really cool, man. Like the fact that you love it. You know, when it comes to trade, when I did my electrician one, I wanted to be a carpenter, but just getting the pay compared to an electrician was just... And obviously the work's much harder as a carpenter than a sparky.
That's right.
It's just the only hard bit about sparky is the TAFE, and the TAFE's not that hard as long as you listen and you're good at math. You're sweet. But just quick 2 questions. We've gone 5 minutes over time, so apologies. Favourite rapper of all time?
Ooh, favourite rapper? Oh, I'm old school. I'm stuck in the 90s, so I'd say someone like Coolio.
Coolio?
Yeah, Coolio. He's pretty clean as well, you know.
Nice, Coolio. Nice. Favourite movie of all time?
Oh, there's a few, but first one that pops into my mind is Shawshank Redemption.
It's been said a few times, but I feel the voice.
Yeah.
It's a quality movie. All right, brother, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been extremely just interesting to hear your whole journey. Really, really interesting. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks, Kempy. Really appreciate it, bro.
Try Daily Fantasy Footy today. Pick your starting 9 with a $60,000 salary cap and enter one of our free competitions with a $50 prize pool. Moneyball.com.au.